Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something that every English learner struggles with. How do you make new words actually, stick? If you are so tired of memorizing words just to forget them a week later, well, you have come to the right place. Let's get into it.
Right? You spend all this time studying a new vocabulary list, you're feeling really good about it, and then when you actually need the word, poof, it's just gone. It is so frustrating. But here's the thing. What if the problem isn't your memory at all? What if it's the method you're using?
See, the real secret to remembering vocabulary is all about context. Instead of learning random words from a list, we're going to group them together by a theme. And then, we're going to weave them into a little story. This creates powerful connections in your brain, and trust me, it makes those words so much harder to forget.
Okay, to show you exactly how this works, let's start with our first theme. We're going to tell the story of a really stressful day at the office. And along the way, we're going to lock in 4 new words.
So, our story starts here, with a backlog. I want you to picture it. You walk into work on a Monday morning, and there is just a mountain of stuff waiting for you. That overwhelming pile of tasks you have to do, that, my friend, is a backlog. Exactly. It could be hundreds of emails, a stack of reports you haven't finished, anything. A backlog is that pile of work that feels like it just keeps growing and growing, and it creates a ton of pressure.
So what do you do when you have a huge backlog? Well, you have to start working on it. And trying to get through all of that work is often absolutely backbreaking. It's work that is so hard it feels like it could literally break your back.
Now, this example is about physical labor, right? Digging in the sun. But you can totally use this word to describe any task that's super exhausting. Answering 300 emails can definitely feel like its own kind of backbreaking work.
Okay, so let's continue the story. Let's say because of that huge backlog, your team misses a really important deadline. What happens next? You might face a backlash. Now, a backlash isn't just one person who's annoyed. Oh no, it's a strong, negative reaction from a whole group of people, like angry customers or clients.
And this example just nails it. A company raises its prices, which affects a lot of people, right? So the reaction, the backlash, comes from that whole group. It's like a collective wave of anger.
Okay, so a backlash is from a group. But what about one person? What about your boss when they find out about the missed deadline? Your boss might go ballistic. This word is for when one single person becomes completely, explosively angry.
Just like this sentence here. Going ballistic is that sudden, really intense burst of rage from one individual. It's way more personal and explosive than a backlash.
So let's put these two side by side, because this is the key difference. A backlash is group anger. Think of an angry mob with pitchforks. Going ballistic is individual anger. Think of a volcano erupting. If you can remember that difference, you've got it.
All right, let's switch gears. Enough of that stressful day at the office. Let's move to something a bit more relaxed. We're going to show how this storytelling method works just as well for simple, everyday words.
So, picture this. It's Saturday. You're just chilling at home, wearing your most comfortable clothes. They're not tight, they're not formal, they're just loose and comfy. The perfect word for this feeling is baggy.
This paints such a clear picture, doesn't it? You're in your baggy jeans, you're relaxed. Now, let's say you get a little hungry, so you head into the kitchen to make a quick snack.
And while you're chopping an apple, oops, you get a little tiny cut on your finger. It's nothing serious, but what's the very first thing you go looking for? Of course, a Band-Aid.
And just like that, problem solved. But do you see what we did there? We started with a comfy outfit with baggy clothes, which led to a kitchen mishap, which needed a Band-Aid. By linking them in a super simple story, they just locked together in your memory.
Now for something a little different. Because, let's be honest, learning new words should also be fun. Some words are just so interesting and playful that they deserve a moment in the spotlight. Let's look at one of my favorites.
Just think about it for a second. Instead of saying something simple like trick or deceive, is there a more colorful, more mischievous word we could use? A word that kind of sounds like what it means?
Here it is. Bamboozle. How great is that word? It means to fool or cheat someone, usually in a clever, confusing way. Seriously, just say it out loud. Bamboozle. It's just fun to say, isn't it?
And this example gives you a perfect sense of it. It's not just a simple little trick. There's this element of confusion and deception. When you've been bamboozled, you often feel a little bit silly about it afterward.
So we've gone through a bad day at work, a quiet weekend at home, and we even learned an amazing word like bamboozle. But the most important takeaway here is understanding the technique so that you can go out and do this yourself.
And it all boils down to this really simple 3-step process. First, don't learn random words. Find a theme, like travel or feelings. Second, and this is the magic part, create a tiny story that connects them, just like we did. And finally, you have to practice using them in your own sentences. That's how you really take ownership of the words.
This method completely changes vocabulary learning from a boring chore into a creative act. You're not just a student anymore, you're a storyteller. So, the real question I have for you is this: what kind of stories are you going to tell with all the new words you're about to master?